What's worse, a world without children or a world where children live without their parents? I could think of a few things that would actually be worse than either of those scenarios. Being stuck behind an 18-car pileup with no chance of getting home before it's time for you to turn right back around, barrel down the highway, and you're going to ride it all night long back to your 9 to 5 job or your 9 to 7 job or your 9 to 9 job. You work hard for the money, 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 give me lots of money. Perhaps a case of syphilis would actually be worse. Maybe an outbreak of cholera. Maybe the fact you can't find your favorite meat at a particular store or your favorite pizza and you have to settle for something a little bit worse to satiate your hunger that you so feel needs to be just having you devour all kinds of grade A goodness. Or maybe there is something just a little bit worse than either of those. The Confession is currently on Amazon Prime, and it was written and directed by Will Cannon, who's done a couple films, and features a mother named Naomi, who is picking up the pieces, with her son Dylan at her dad's old house, or an old house that her dad was around in some form or another. Her dad's dead. She is trying to find out what happened to him. He left a confession tape on a cassette. Yes, kids, we actually used to listen to things on cassette tapes, where we had to plug in, headphones with a little jack and everything that had a nasty pointy tooth right here. What an eccentric performance. And she listens to this, and basically he says, if you find this, it means the rats are back. If they are, beware. By the way, we barely see any rats in this entire movie, and that's pretty much it right there. The cast does what they can. This is a short film concept that is stretched way the fuck beyond its limits. And even though it's only like 85 minutes, it is punishing. This is a very punishingly bad, bland, bargain basement flick that has done things, that you've seen time and time before, and you will see time and time done again. It's like if Insidious actually had no proper plot to it. And while there is a thread of the Pied Piper, you would almost rather follow the Pied Piper or follow anybody channeling the Pied Piper rather than watch The Confession. I try not to be mean. I try to be understanding because I know it is hard to make a film. And I'm just some idiot on YouTube talking about stuff. But when a movie just becomes so agonizingly, aggressively boring to sit through, and while the cast certainly probably is more talented than this film showed them to be, the character work is absolutely abysmal. They made that kid one of the most annoying and worst child actor characters in any horror film in at least the last 15 or so years. This kid was more annoying than the one in Dark Skies, which is saying a lot. This just was so bland and so stupid. And maybe it is based on a passion project or a personal thing that the filmmaker and the crew wanted to get told it's from Elby, Texas, or Elb, Texas, however the fuck you say it. I don't know where that is. It tries to mix a few things of horror, like such as a land deal gone wrong, and also some stuff about like religion needing to come back into your life, but religion can't always save you because the church is full of shit, as one character said. And by the way, while not all churches are full of shit, often people will take the words of God, the fairy tale books that they are, and use it to justify their bigotry and their hatred and their sexism and all that. But off my soapbox, The Confession is just dumb as hell. There's really not much of a confession in this. The only confession I want to make is I regret sitting through The Confession. It's on Amazon, 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So, I'm not going to get into my minutia of all this, but I'm going to talk about a few things that were just really bad. We have the dad, in a wheelbarrow, or pushing some Bible stuff in a wheelbarrow, and seemingly drowning himself in a lake. And he warns, if the rats are back, beware. Okay, we're promised rats. I will take this over that Rats Night of Terror movie that was really bad. And it's from Quiver Distribution that seems to be making a run to produce pretty bargain basement horror flicks. They produce some stuff that's not bad and some action stuff that's alright, but seriously. So, we have Naomi singing on stage as we get out of the father confession thing. And yeah, she's a singer. We know she's a singer because this movie proceeds to remind us of that at least 50 million times in the first 30 minutes. She has a big record coming. Somebody asked her if she's met Ted Nugent. Why would anybody want to meet Ted Nugent? Look up Ted Nugent and figure out why nobody should ever want to goddamn meet him. While he was talented, he's also a crackpot idiot. So, there is a goat named Samus. I would have rather followed the goddamn goat. The goat actually was a much better actor, especially than any... Again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to any of the cast if you happen to be watching this. But if these were the best scenes that anybody could get out of you guys, you probably should have found another project to be part of. I have not actually heard of any of these people outside of Ali McCulloch, who was in Sketch, which was a really terrible movie. I mean, really, it's from Angel Studios, so what do you expect? And Creepbox, and I believe she was also in Walking Dead. And yeah, we have the ghost Samus, not Samus Aran. Samus bites the kid. That's what you get for acting like an idiot. Honestly, if you're going to make a kid super annoying, you are actively creating a reason for the audience to root against that child surviving. So, yeah, Naomi, a musician. The goat bites Dylan. And, and then, yeah, we just, oh boy, don't... The movie also just... It goes to a hospital, which probably costed quite a pretty penny unless they knew somebody at the hospital. Actually looked more like a clinic. And then, like, Naomi's got something hidden in the goddamn brick wall, apparently. The telltale heart couldn't be, bothered to show up, so this is a telltale shart. Again, sorry, terrible movie. And there's a picture of Grayson and the kid. Now, Grayson, by the way, apparently, Grayson's just, a guy that shows up that offers some information and tries to help out. But then she says later that her husband's dead and was driving her dad to his chemo stuff. Was she hallucinating the fact that her husband was still alive because they moved from California to here? Probably because it was cheaper to shoot. And it turns out the dad actually buried a man named Royce Cobb, because apparently he didn't remember the name of Tom Selleck's character from Quigley Down Under. Because this movie claims that it understands horror, but it never understood how to use any of that stuff. So, he died on the property. He was buried, or somebody was buried. And there was this whistle, just to hammer home the more, the more Piper shit. Blow this whistle and I will come right away. By the way, they're making the kid act really immature. And yeah, there we go. Like, the kid then says something, it's like something's happening to my brains. He said my brains, keep rolling. So anyway, as things go on and this woman shows up to offer more information about what's gone on, and apparently a bad land deal where they were going to flood the valley to make a lake, and this one guy didn't want to sell his land. There's also this guy that was a really creepy, I'm just going to say it, he was a fat fuck, the actor, or the character in this, I don't mean the actor. He could have been having pillows on him for all I know. But he was taking it out on everybody by taking their kids in an ice cream van and putting them in his basement. I would say weapons style, but I feel like bile rising up in my throat even trying to compare this to Weapons, because that at least implemented the Pied Piper thing properly really well. I've rewatched that movie a few times. I want to actively unwatch this movie. So, yeah, that whole thing with the lady, by the way, feels that she's, really famous. Have you met Ted Nugent? I didn't. Apparently she was a stalker of Ted Nugent. Why is any of this in the goddamn movie? And the kid keeps acting weirder. Eventually he ends up disappearing, and she being Naomi, must find out what's going on. So put your singing career on hold, get Grayson, or whoever this guy is that's likely dead, and go on and do this thing. So, I thought it might have been Evan, actually, this guy Evan, but, I looked at the cast and just whatever, it's fine. It doesn't really matter because none of these characters are distinct enough to really, make you care. But I talked to this doctor on this laptop, chat thing, and he basically says, oh, this thing about Roy's Cup, how do you know that name? Oh, your dad did this. Oh, your son's gone. So now you must go to this particular area because there are these portals to these dwelling places for these demons, like the stuff in the goddamn Insidious franchise and all that. The Further, I believe, is what it was. I tried to forget those movies, but yeah, that kind of stuff where you go into another realm, the Shadow Realm, which is where this movie deserves to be put at. And she's supposed to go and do this and save her child. And she's supposed to beat up this ghost and bury this ghost or bury the spirit or release the spirits of the children from this whole thing. But one thing that the guy said is the opening line that I use. What's worse, a war without children or a war where children live without their parents? The message being the Pied Piper leading people to their goddamn doom, or whatever version of the Pied Piper you want to believe. That's basically what we end up getting. By the way, shot day for night with very bad blue lighting. Again, if you don't have much of a budget, I understand, I respect that, but the thing is, the movie is competently shot and made, at least at first, and then it just went totally off the goddamn rails. It threw everything at the wall to see what stuck. And what stuck was the shit that they went with. They just scraped it off and wrote it on the goddamn page because this just is covered in all kinds of terrible, scenarios, dialogue, with a central theme of, religion. But the religion theme isn't even hammered into your head. The fact she's a singer is, the Pied Piper stuff is. And basically what ends up happening is she manages to rescue her son after wrestling this weird, this weird guy, and then they end up, Grayson and the doctor, Grayson or whoever the hell he is, they pull the kid out and they pull Naomi out, and Naomi is revived. She died for several minutes, and everything's fine. And that's it, except it's not. Then suddenly, Dylan is looking for his mother, and she's just standing out there doing this, and suddenly all the parents are just walking with her, and they're walking through the woods and everything. Oh yes, and by the way, one thing that Dylan did earlier when he was acting creepy was he apparently killed Samus the goat, so that little shit deserves to die. But he takes the goat head, or he shows the goat head to somebody, and got in trouble for that, I guess. They didn't show it, probably because they couldn't afford to show a goat's head. The CGI rats looked absolutely terrible. And then, the parents are just wandering away, and we repeat that line. What's worse, a world without children or a world where children live without their parents? Again, it's just, Jesus Christ. I wasn't even going to do a video about this, but I need to warn you guys. If you're going to watch this with friends, and understand, the actors are people, the cast and crew are people, but my God, when a movie has this much incompetence up and down the goddamn ladder, and every scene somehow makes it worse. This movie's actively making me angry because it just was so poorly put together. So I'm sorry to anybody watching this. I wish you nothing but the best and the most success in your careers, but good God, when a movie's this bad, it must be talked about. Avoid the confession or watch it with friends and share some jokes, because all you really can do is joke about this. Because the confession ends up being a fucking joke. So, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe. F, by the way, F. Just in case you didn't fucking get that I was going to give this movie an F. I'm giving it an F. So, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe. Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rentlin. Until we get back to better horror very soon, please soon, my God, help me. Happy trails to you.